When the neurological process of an emotion is interrupted or suppressed, it can have negative consequences on the body and the mind. It can stimulate disease processes, increase inflammation, disturb your digestion, impact weight gain or weight loss, lead to decreased energy and vitality, chronic colds, and chronic flu. So today, I want to talk with you about why we suppress our emotions and how to stop doing it. I also want to teach you the connection of emotional suppression with physical disease in the body. What is that actual physiological function or process? And I want to give you a few key practices that you can start applying straight away that will help you to uncover suppressed emotions, more emotional intelligence and awareness, as well as how to recover suppressed emotions from your past, and also to equip you to be able to see if any physical imbalance or issue that you may have, if there's a connection between that and emotions that you may be suppressing. So first, why do we suppress our emotions? Well, the answer is really quite simple. Human beings are pain avoidant and pleasure driven. And painful emotions, uncomfortable emotions are uncomfortable. And so we try to get away from them as quickly as possible. Not suppressing your emotions is extremely challenging. So let's just say you have the best day ever and you feel super full of joy and you're just in a great mood and you're super happy, okay? You're probably not even thinking about suppressing that emotion at all because it's a pleasure emotion, you feel it. Well, emotions are a neurological process in the body, and so they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so you may notice when you have that surge of joy and you're elated and you're having a great day and you feel like you're in a super good mood, that there is a cycle, so that it builds, there's a middle and an end, and it cycles through. And probably at no point in that time of that cycle are you like, how am I going to get out of this feeling happy? Let me escape this feeling happy. I need to distract myself. I need to avoid. That emotion is able to run its cycle completely in your body. Versus if you feel grief, jealousy, hatred, anger, betrayal, guilt, you will try to avoid or suppress them. So when we get stuck in an emotion, we suppress it. We can suppress it by just trying to avoid it completely. Maybe we are numbing out, we're drinking too much alcohol frequently, we're going out with friends, we're just trying to avoid or deny the feeling. Is internalize the emotion or the feeling. And that's when these emotions, which can be conscious and unconscious, can actually impact the way that our body is functioning.
Example, patients with rheumatoid arthritis have long been suspected to have certain personality traits. This study was very interesting because it hypothesized that certain personality traits of rheumatoid arthritis patients led them more susceptible to the detriments of stress. Stressful life events have preceded the onset of RA in as many as 86% of cases, and higher stress at the onset of disease predicts worse disease prognosis. Significant differences were found in 8 of the 15 underlying personality facets, with the RA group rating themselves higher on relationships and empathy, and lower on stress management, emotion management, adaptability, assertiveness, impulsiveness, and self-esteem. So how does it happen? How do we actually suppress our emotions?
The primary connection between emotions and disease occurs in 2 places. The first place is actually through the gut, through our digestion. So when we are underneath chronic stress, inflammation increases in the body via our digestion. Our digestion actually releases these inflammatory cytokines, and inflammation increases in the entire body, including the brain, which can suppress areas of the brain, and that's when you have inflammatory-induced anxiety and depression. And there's so much more research that's coming out all the time regarding the connection between our cognitive function, our mind, our emotions, and our digestion. But you could see through this example how it would be this cyclatory process where you're underneath a ton of stress, it increases inflammation in the body, increases inflammation in digestion. Inflammation stimulates disease processes all over the place. Then it suppresses areas of the brain. You feel more anxiety and depression going through this stressful. So you get on this sort of downward cycle where you really need to interrupt the feedback loop through a holistic approach that addresses both body and mind. And the second way is that an emotion, as I said earlier, is an actual natural neurological process in the body that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so when you interrupt that process via suppression or avoidance or getting stuck in that cycle, so when somebody gets stuck in an emotion, emotions can actually be stored somewhere within the physical body. When you do emotional release work, as I've been doing with my clients, men and women, for the last almost 15 years of my life, using body work, breathing practices, somatic body work, tremor release energy techniques, there are different ways to facilitate the release of these stored emotions and traumatic events from the physical body. Some of these practices have been done for thousands of years all over the world in shamanic systems, in Ayurvedic systems, and some of them are also new and pioneered by people like Peter Levine or von der Kolk or Bruce Lipton, for example, who are pioneering research into how trauma impacts the nervous system, how we store those memories in our body, how those memories impact us unconsciously via our behavior or disease manifestation, and how by releasing those memories, those stored traumas in the nervous system, we can increase our immunity, our resilience, restore physical alignment in the body, and assist in recovery from injury. When you actually facilitate a release of an emotion from the body, it may or may not occur simultaneously with a feeling, a cognitive thought. And then there may be really strong emotions, feelings, and thoughts all connected into some kind of a physical manifestation as well. A client of mine, Kara, had found out about her husband's affair, and she essentially left the house, and it was that night that she started to suffer from delayed gastric bypass emptying, which basically she was getting these intense stomach cramps and drooling and couldn't eat, and her food wouldn't digest, and she was seeing all these practitioners all over the place for help. And she saw me as a last end resort, which is, pretty common for people that are in the alternative sector. We get complicated cases a lot. So she came to see me as a last resort for help, and she told me the story that it started the night that she found out her husband had an affair. So to me, it was pretty obvious, that there was this pretty strong connection there, and nobody had spoken to her about that connection. And so I just had to write her letter to her husband. She didn't give him the letter. The intention wasn't to give him the letter. The intention was for her to vocalize her anger at what had occurred, because she hadn't given herself that opportunity to do so. And literally that night, all of her stomach issues resolved instantly after she finished the letter. So that's just one example of many that I've observed. So now I want to give you a few key practices that will help you to stop suppressing your emotions and to recognize the connection between emotions and disease that may have manifested in your body. So the first and most important thing that you need to do is just observe. Observe your feelings and your emotions throughout the day. Just check in with yourself. Yeah, it's really that easy. And I suggest using a chart by David Hawkins.
So you can see at the top of the scale are the great feelings of peace, gratitude, kindness, and it kind of descends down to these other low vibration emotions or feelings. Print it out and keep it with you as a point of reference for you to familiarize yourself with different emotions and feelings and observe how you may fluctuate between those feelings throughout the course of your day.
So you can keep that just as a reference, and you can see how during the day you kind of go up and down this emotional scale, and where are you hovering? Where do you hang out with the most as a point of reference? Obviously, we all want to be vibing high and feeling good and happy all the time, but we're never going to authentically get there unless we process these unpleasant emotions. Number 2, look at your relationship patterns. These could be personal and professional. If you keep getting attracted into situations where you have a demeaning boss or a demeaning partner or a demeaning friend, or you feel taken advantage of, or you feel like somebody's stealing from you, or, whatever sort of, negative repeating pattern you may see in both your personal and professional lives is a huge signal that there's some unprocessed work there. Number 3 is to create space for you to feel your emotions and your feelings. I want you to understand that there are no bad feelings. We have feelings in our society and culture that we label as bad. As soon as you label a feeling or an emotion bad, you already have a labeled shame and rejection and guilt around having that feeling. Anger, hatred, whatever feeling there is that exists within the human template of feelings, inside of it, there is wisdom inside of that feeling. It doesn't mean you need to act on the feeling. If you feel hatred, it doesn't mean you need to commit an act of violence, etc. Or if you feel desire, it doesn't mean you need to commit an act of lust. It doesn't mean that these feelings need to be acted on, but it's when we deny, suppress, or avoid the feelings because of having shame or guilt around them that they can become unconscious drivers in our life. You don't have to overwhelm yourself with it. This doesn't have to be a huge cathartic, consuming process. It's just creating a little bit of time for you to go through this natural cycle of processing. This is just a natural processing. I'm telling you that by doing this work and just allowing yourself to feel, and it sounds really simple, but when you actually, and it is simple, but it's when you actually apply it that the challenge of actually sitting in that discomfort gets to be challenging. Thank you so much for your time and your attention today. I hope that this information aids you on your path. If you are a professional man or woman in business or in medicine, and you want to up-level your health, you want vitality, resilience, lifestyle mastery, longevity, and rejuvenation, if you want strong immunity, I would love to guide you through Ayurvedic and yogic practices that can help you to do just that. Right now, I created a brand new program. If you want resilience, vitality, emotional and mental health, if you want to be a good communicator in your life, you want strong digestion, and you are a purpose-driven individual, but perhaps you struggle with making your health and wellness a priority. So maybe you schedule your work responsibilities or your personal responsibilities before your health, or maybe you just don't know how, especially people that are in the medical professional world that have gone through the educational system, or men and women who have been really, really career focused and have had to say yes to everything up until a certain point. They've reached a certain level in their career, and now they know that they need to be prioritizing their health and well-being. Otherwise, they're going to either start suffering symptoms of a lack of self-care, or they already have. And so that could be, certain types of digestive issues, anxiety, depression, imbalanced weight, so either weight gain or weight loss, chronic cold or flu, work burnout, and all of those other unpleasant symptoms that can occur from not making your own health a priority, basically. Click the link below and apply for a free strategy session with me. And if you seem like you'd be a good fit for the program, and if we resonate with each other, you like me and I like you, and we want to go on a longer working relationship together, then I'm going to tell you about this 10-week program that I have created that will take you through a resilience training, and it will actually help to cultivate resilience, body, mind, and soul. So much more I could say about this subject. It's hard to hold back. This is one of my favorite subjects in the world, really. And I hope that you found it as interesting as I do. Thank you.